services to the citizens are smooth and without any hassle for them. The fourth important strategy which was deployed was about the training and knowledge management to our staff. As we all know that the guidelines were reviewed on periodic basis, and it was important for the staff to be made aware about what is new and what they need to follow. So, forming the smaller teams and ensuring that the training is deployed real time. So this was something certainly, and this has cascaded right from central government to state to the smallest of the units. The information flow was so, and then I think the technologies like WhatsApp and others enabled us to, the Zoom, and then it enabled us to reach out to the last person. The fifth strategy which was deployed was the change management. As you all know that, when the situation changes, certainly you have to adapt to the situation, you have to change the processes, and then the new processes were adopted. And I think Yasin sir told at that time that we have to provide doctor advice to this patient at home, and we created the process in the control room to connect with every patient which was reported positive. So all the positive reports which were reported on the portal were coming to the 108 control room, and the next day we were calling the patients about the need for the care at home, and our doctors from control room were directly interacting with the patients. Now this forward thinking in the state has helped a lot to ensure that the care at home was actually real-time care was provided, and that was not only provided once, the patient was followed up for till the 14th day. So this process helped a lot to ensure that the COVID care was provided to the mothers as well as the other stakeholders. As all of you know, the sixth and last strategy which was adopted was the stakeholder engagement. Now, all of us know that being on the same stage is absolutely important when we are working community-wide. So communication, coordination and preparedness across all levels, that was something helped a lot to ensure that the system worked with all the other system, and it was a synergistic effect which was which happened during the entire COVID. The system took care of more than 1,85,000 COVID patients in the UT of J&K. Doctor consultations, about 15,079 doctor consultations were provided directly to the patients, and the follow-up till the 14th day follow-up. Now this is something, the intervention of a doctor at home, which was actually otherwise corporate hospitals created the process for isolated patients and other things, which was not much successful across the country. But because of the organized effort at J&K, we could able to do it in a very effective manner at J&K. From the last yesterday and today's discussion, I have certainly taken some key learnings for the 108 service. Probably this will definitely add a lot of value for the neonatal care and the maternal care in the state. The first is that, the third trimester, if the 108 team can touch base the mother, because her needs during the third trimester, because many a times all of these deliveries in the ambulances are due to accessing the system late. They call at the 11th hour and then the team visits, and then the delivery need to be assisted in the ambulance. So to reduce this, probably touch basing the mother during the third trimester will definitely help. Certainly, introduction of neonatal ambulances will have significant impact on reducing further IMR. The achievement of the states are significant, but introduction of neonatal ambulance and neonatal transport from the district hospital to the tertiary care center, and certainly the monitoring of infant while transport and information to the destination hospital prior to handing over the infant or mother or any other patient for that matter. This system will definitely add value in the current system. Thank you very much, Yasin sir, and the faculty at NHM to give me this opportunity to share these thoughts. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for giving us an insight about the 108 ambulance services and the role played by 108 in J&K. Ladies and gentlemen, I have an announcement to make. We are virtually launching Early Childhood Development Cell in 108-104 call center, and I request Mr. Yasin M. Chaudhary, IAS Mission Director, NHM J&K, to please launch the ECD cell. Please, sir.
Okay, there's no visual effect, but that is the visual. So a bit about the ECD call center that we've started in our 104 ECD cell in our 104 call center. This was a plan which is born out of this course that we undertook earlier, the Scaling Early Childhood Initiatives. This is supposed to be a centralized cell for reaching out to mothers and parents, rather, both mothers and fathers, and educating prospective mothers and fathers, expecting parents, and ensuring that they have the right information and awareness about early childhood development, right from the steps that they need to take care of during the antenatal period as well as the postnatal period, and in fact up till the child attains the age of 1,000 years. We are very happy to partner with our organization, namely Dr. ITM Limited, which is basically a Chandigarh-based BPO, and they have been running a call center for almost 1.5 years now, and additionally they were very eager to start this cell. I am really glad, sir, Ashok Babu sir, that we have been we're actually the second state in the country to start a dedicated ECD cell, and we're really looking forward to see them.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Who has not heard of the Vale of Kashmir, with its grottos, the brightest the earth ever gave? Before starting the proceedings of early childhood development, I would like to take opportunity to introduce myself. I am Misbahul Hassan, working as State Program Manager, National Health Mission J&K from last 10 years. Let's now proceed ahead for the session on early childhood development, for which we are delighted to have 5 renowned speakers and a moderator who all are stalwarts in their respective fields. One of the speakers, Mr. Festo Valle, is joining us online. May I request Dr. P. Ashok Babu sir, IAS Joint Secretary, RCS, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India, to please come on the stage, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir is a 2003 batch IAS officer from Assam Meghalaya cadre. He is presently serving as Joint Secretary in the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India. Sir is a medical graduate and has done Masters in Public Health from Johns Hopkins University of USA. Sir has received many awards, but I will announce only few of these awards due to paucity of time. First position in Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Gramin for maximum household completion in group state. Travel and Grant Scholarship Award for outstanding international MPH students from lower and middle income countries. Outstanding contribution for the cause of electric. Thank you, sir. We are highly thankful to your good self for joining us today. Now I request Dr. Sheila Dev, Additional Commissioner, Child Health and Nutrition, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India, to please come on the stage. Somebody please hold ma'am. Actually, ma'am had injured her back Sorry, ma'am, for that. Ma'am has done MD Public Health from All India Institute of Hygiene and Public Health, Kolkata, MBA Health Administration. Ma'am is also a National Program Manager for different programs, Nutrition Division of Ministry, Anemia Bar National Development Program. Thank you, ma'am. May I now invite Ms. Rushida Majid, India Representative, Governor Van Lee Foundation, to please come on the stage. Madam has a master's degree in international affairs from the School of International and Public Affairs at Columbia University. Madam has led research in 11 countries for Princeton University's Innovations for Successful Societies to analyze reforms that improve government performance and accountability. Thank you, ma'am. May I now request Dr. Arun K. Singh, Professor and Head of the Department of Neonatology, AIMS Jodhpur, and National Advisor Rashtriya Bal Swasthya Karyakram on the stage. Sir has developed the first concept of sickle newborn unit in Purulia, West Bengal. Sir has also developed the book on journey of first 100 days and a concept in ECT in Indian perspective. Ladies and gentlemen, as I mentioned earlier, we are joined online by Mr. Faiko Vale Piqueda. I would like to give a brief introduction about Sir. Sir has been former ambassador of Ecuador to Singapore. Sir has also served as an advisor and consultant to various public organizations, such as the Ministry of Economics and Finance, Ministry of Oil and Mining, Ministry of Production and Competitiveness. Thank you, sir, for taking your time and joining us online here. Ladies and gentlemen, may I now take the pleasure of introducing our worthy Mission Director, National President J&K Minister, Yasin M. Chaudhary, IAS, who is also the moderator of the session. A brief introduction about Sir. Sir has done BTech in Electrical Engineering from Indian Institute of Technology, Roorkee. And Sir, before this, Sir has also been a former Indian Forest Services officer. And Sir has also served.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much. I once again take this opportunity to thank you all for joining us on the second day of the first J&K MCH Conclave. This is the last session of the conclave and it's going to close now, but I'm sure all of you, those who have been here since yesterday morning, would have definitely benefited somewhat, so to some extent or the other, by our sessions which were embellished by such brilliant minds. Now coming to ECT, firstly I must say that it feels like Boston all over again, because some of us, in fact, four of us were a part of this team which undertook this special course at the Kennedy School of Government at Harvard University just a few months ago. That course was actually about early childhood development, and a lot of things were born out of that course, many of which we're going to discuss here. But what we all learned from there was why ECD, early childhood development, remains a neglected and under-addressed issue, particularly in developing countries and particularly in India, and as to how serious is it. In spite of so much knowledge on neonatology or child development and nutrition, we are still missing the target somewhere. So I want to start with Ashok Babu sir. He's basically the Joint Secretary RCH. And sir, I would like to request you to elaborate a bit upon the policy framework with which we are working, because we know that ever since the last, say, in the post-independence period, we have been tackling malnutrition as a serious crisis, in the country, and we have made great strides as well. However, is there, urgent need to approach early childhood development from a clinical perspective, from a community health perspective? Because we know that, the social welfare department, which runs Anganwadis and all, they are entrusted with child nutrition for a lot of time, but there are still gaps there. For instance, infant nutrition is not covered. For that matter, even the postnatal care is not covered. So, what sort of policy framework angles do you think we are looking at? And with respect to whatever existing schemes that we have, do you think that there are certain areas which are left out or which need to be covered, sir?
First of all, let me express my gratitude to the state, to the government of Jammu and Kashmir, especially Mr. Yasin. He took all the pains. In fact, he was discussing with ministry for quite a long time. He says there is a need milk into the baby's mouth is the best investment any country can make. What does it exactly mean? That means, see, the baby is there. It's not about the milk. It is about the investment we make on the baby. Assuming that baby couldn't do well, he will be one of the persons facing unemployment for the country. Or in distress, he commits a crime. He puts system burden on the law and order. He doesn't contribute much to his family and children. This vicious cycle continues. So to break this thing, what is needed to develop a child and what a country can do? In this aspect, there are multiple programs are running. As Mr. Rasin has said, we, even at this moment, if you say we are not doing much, I slightly disagree. If at all we look at certain skills a baby requires, cognitive skills, emotional needs, motor needs, etc. You point out one particular school, let it be, keep the government aside, the best private institution, a kindergarten, whatever. Whether it is providing all these skills to the child, does it have at least playground? Does it expose the baby to the early morning sunlight? What about the nutrition? What about the developmental delays? What about the knowledge of the mother or the father or the parents of the house to detect it and report? Couple of things come into the picture. We have multiple schemes. If at all we start mentioning RBSK is there, the school health program, nutrition through Anganwadi centers. We have our adolescent health programs to take care of the lady right from the beginning. Multiple schemes. The issue, now coming to this point, the policy changes that are required or where we can ponder upon are one thing. The holisticness with which we approach. Say for example, DEICs. If at all you look at the DEICs and the way we made progress on this, always you find something else is missing there. Early intervention centers. For example, some skills, some speech therapy skills, or certain surgeries required. I just quote one example. Say there is a child who is suffering a severe disability called, he requires a cochlear implant. Okay, state is ready. There are many programs. We invest around 15 to 20 lakhs and get the cochlear implant done. Assuming we do it in the right time, say much more before 2 years or even latest by 3 years. What about his skills of speech? First time he started hearing at the age of say 2.5 years. For him, first time, if I say hi, how are you, it looks like a sound to him, not like language to him. And I need to put him in a place where he learns language. Otherwise, after 5th year, he remains at the stuttering or inability to speak. I just addressed hearing. What about speech? Okay. Assuming this boy or girl is from a rural village, whether the DEIC center provides speech therapy there, do we have a posting? Is the person available? Is competent enough? Assuming he is already there, can the mother take him daily? Because speech therapy runs say 6 months or 1 year. Can he come out daily? Who bears the transportation cost? Can the mother and baby stay in the hostel? Adjacent? I am yet to see one DEIC center comprehensively address first needs of the mother and needs of the baby. Now, Yasin has just started one call center. He has said one point, community involvement. As a community, are we looking at just growth of the child, height and weight, ticky head, or are we looking at the child, whether he is developing through his milestones without any disabilities or addressing those disabilities or not? Why the community is required? It is not about mother alone. It is for the entire society. It is, if the society is not with the baby, it is very tough individually, either for the baby or for the family, to get across all through impediments and get what is the right development. So, the call center is there. Can a mother identify developmental whatever deficiencies or some disease or something early? Does he have that much of knowledge? before delivery or immediately after delivery. If mother requires, say, I just give a number, 10 points of knowledge to identify something is wrong happening to the baby, and take the phone and give a call to the call center so that further state takes action. Is it not our responsibility to develop that kind of knowledge, 10 out of 10, or 9 out of 10? So the community comes here into the picture. The ASHAs, Anganwadi workers, ANMs, school teachers, everybody come into the picture. As a community, we need to find it. When India is marching ahead, when I go along with ministers to certain foreign countries, when I see the respect India is being given, especially post-COVID, the way India dealt with it, India's ability to supply vaccines, India's ability to move in MMR, IMR much more faster than the entire world. The amount of respect India, we need to move to the next stage, where we need to take care of our children in a holistic manner. It is not just growth, it is development also. It is not just hospitals and service providers, it is the community as a whole. We will ponder over, there are many experts who can speak on individual point. Thanks a lot for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you so much, sir. Indeed, when we view it from a policy perspective, I must bring in the point about the issue of our diminishing TFR, which is a worrisome issue. What sir said, looking at it as an investment that we're making for the future generation. If we are going to improve the early childhood development phase, that's going to result in much healthier, much brighter individuals who will be able to contribute to a much better functioning economy. Further, sir also mentioned very critical points about having a wholesome or a comprehensive plan to address ECD and a community involvement perspective, which would involve not just ASHAs and ANMs, but parents and school teachers also. That's something that we have not even tried thinking about, sir. Thank you so much, sir. I want to move on to Dr. Siladev ma'am now. So ma'am, you've been an old hand for child health in the ministry, and a lot of these establishments that we've seen come up, you would have certainly taken care of them. And I wish to request you to throw some light upon why when we talk about antenatal care from the perspective of PMS, Pradhan Mantri Surakshit Matritva Abhiyan, is it true that we only focus upon the health of the mother and not the health of the fetus? And do you think that there can be certain additions to the antenatal regimen which would focus on, say, fetal medicine or say some sort of tracking of fetal movement? Is there anything that we can do in those 9 months which will directly address fetal health?
Thank you, sir. At the outset, I would first of all like to congratulate the National Health Mission of Jammu Kashmir for arranging this very important conclave on maternal child health, and I giving me the opportunity also to speak in this important and so as sir you have asked, yes. In antenatal period, it is actually we always we are speaking about the 1,000 days, first 1,000 days of life. That is the fetus in utero, that period, and with that the first 2 years of the life of the baby. So this is the most important period, and as this is the time for both tremendous potential and as well as enormous vulnerability. So the adequate nutrition is one of the most important pillars actually of this nurturing care of the early childhood development. And so during the antenatal period, we have the existing interventions. Now we are focusing on 4 AMCs. And as yesterday Dr. Ashfaq Bhatt in his presentation of the study, he mentioned that 46% of mothers with 4 ANC actually they died during this discussion on the maternal case study. So there lies the importance of quality ANC. So when we are looking into the data of Jammu Kashmir for this IFA consumption of the mothers, so it is actually quite low. till now. It is not only in Jammu Kashmir, across the states this is the situation, but we can see that here only 40 to 50%. Actually, there is a fall of 1% compared to from which is 4 to 5. But still there is a lot of opportunity to improve this IFA consumption, because we know that in ancillary period, actually even in our Anemia Bharat guidelines also, we have incorporated the use of folic acid parenterally. That is before pregnancy even, and 3 months before pregnancy, and the first 3 months of so, but this is yet to be seen as a program, because it's actually difficult to start before in the prenatal, because if the pregnancy is not planned, in that case it is actually very difficult to start the prenatal period folic acid administration. But it is actually, I think here in Jammu Kashmir, the literacy rate, female literacy rate, as strong as an improvement, and it is even higher than the national average. So the female, the ladies, the women are literate, and they are being actually counseled of the importance of preparing for the pregnancy. Immediately after marriage, actually this program should start. So because we in the for these family planning programs, already there is a list of for the couple protection, there is a list of the married couples, and so there only this program can be started. So first of all, the mother, whoever is married, and then we can do one hemoglobin checkup to see whether they are anemic or not. If they are anemic, first of all, the anemia should be corrected, and then after that correction of anemia, they should plan for pregnancy. That message should go to the mother. There will be mothers. So, and then once this anemia is corrected, then if they are planning for pregnancy, then they should go for folic acid consumption, because folic acid and B12 is know that these are actually they prevent neuratic defects, and neuratic defect is the most important cause of defect and birth defects in our country. So here is a big scope that we can start in that way, and then during the antenatal period, this is an exclusive 9-month period. That is, the mother is in touch with the health workers, the community, the ASHAs and the ANMs, and in the health facilities they are interacting with the doctors. And here we also feel that the doctors, medical officers, they are actually busy in taking up this and this clinical checkups are being done. But 1 or 2 words from a doctor, that actually means much more to the patient and to the mother. So you take your weighing of the mother, another important area. So though we have our woman and child development for there is DHCs are happening and weight is done, but now focus on weighing of the mother so that regular weight monitoring of the pregnant mother. That's also important from the point of view of this the preeclampsia also. So there are rapid weight gain that is also the dynamic cycle of preeclampsia also to detect the high risk cases of this. So weighing of the mother, so every antenatal clinic should have the weight at a high pressure basis, because many times we miss this high pressure of the mother. So it is actually during our initiative, whenever we have seen that actually this is not there, especially the high pressure that sitting with that maybe there is missing sometimes. So these are the regular quality checkup. That's the important thing, and then counseling regarding the importance of iron. Iron, why iron should be taken regularly? Because iron, it is not only works in the after the birth of the baby. It is we say that 80% of the brain development happens during the first 2 years of life. And not only during this period, even before the birth, when the fetus is in utero, then also the brain development, this iron it works actually. And so and iron has very important important role in multiplying of the multiplication of the neurons and the dendrites and the smyelination. So this activities, regular taking of these activities, that's also very important of the normal roles and development, including the
Thank you so much, ma'am. It's important we continue sticking to the basics, and we'll have it. If I can more simply put it, our understanding of what needs to be done in the academic period is quite strong. There's no confusion as such.
One thing I missed another thing that is regarding the importance of breastfeeding. In the third trimester, when the mother is actually advancing towards delivery, so that is a sensitive period when the mother can be sensitized to why breastfeeding is so important. Even before the delivery, mother should be sensitized as well. So that's
Indeed. I was going to come to breastfeed promotion of breastfeeding later, but as ma'am mentioned, it's important that we start prepping the mother psychologically during the last 3 months or so of the pregnancy period, so that she adopts breastfeeding right after. Thank you so much, Dr. Dev. Ma'am, we'll move on to Rushta Najib from BBLF, Bernard Mondier Foundation, which is basically a global NGO foundation which is headquartered in the Netherlands and works exclusively on early childhood development. And Rushta has been working across countries. She's quite a globetrotter and has gained immense perspective on how to implement and run ECD programs. So Rushta, I want to first get an idea about what's your understanding of how various countries, particularly developed countries, look at ECD and how do they approach it from a program implementation perspective.
Thank you so much, Mr. Yassin, and of course, thank you to the organizers and to the government of Jammu and Kashmir for this invitation. I am beyond delighted that we are having this session on early childhood. As you mentioned earlier, we were part of a cohort that was at Howard Kennedy School not very long ago. And of course, the topic of discussion there was early childhood, but also, more importantly, how could we all apply it within our context, within our states here in India. So I'm very happy to see that there are long strides being made towards it, of course at the national level, but also at the state level here in Jammu and Kashmir. Before I get to your question, if I may, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the Bernard Mondier Foundation, but more importantly, why do we focus on early childhood? So the Bernard Mondier Foundation is a Netherlands-based organization. It's a philanthropy, it's a funding agency that works on early childhood. And I find it important to mention Bernard Mondier Foundation, not because I'm representing it, which of course I am, but the fact that it is one of the oldest and probably one of the only foundations that have been working on early childhood for the past 50-60 years. The foundation was established in 1949. And it pivoted towards early childhood in 1965 when the founders realized that early childhood is a critical component. The founders were businessmen, they made a lot of money in packaging, oil packaging, and they realized at that time a lot of evidence was coming out in neuroscience of how the early experiences shape brain development. And they found it so important, and they were businessmen end of the day, and they decided that their investment during the earliest years was going to be the most critical to have long-term effects later in life, not only for the child, the mother or the father or the family, but also for the community and nations as a whole. And I think Dr. Ashok Babu just mentioned that ECD has the power to transform nation, and that's exactly why. It does affect early childhood development is foundational. It affects how young children behave, their cognitive development, socio-emotional development, how they interact with others, how they perceive emotions, how they're able to express emotions, how they negotiate, and so on and so forth. And therefore, this is the one reason that the foundation works on early childhood. And just a few statistics around it as well. I think Dr. Siradev just mentioned that about 80% of the brain roughly develops during the first 1,000 days. If I had the ability to project a snapshot of the brain of a young child and that of an adult, by age 5 you would see that the neural connections have actually fully formed. Which means that the early experiences And when I use the word experiences, I mean the love, affection, care of parents and other caregivers are absolutely critical. There is a term in early childhood called serve and return. When the child speaks to you, when the child gurgles, if you respond, that is contributing to healthy brain development of the child, and that is going to have effects later in life. About 1 million neural connections are formed per second during the earliest years. It's beyond our imagination, but that this is recent data. A lot of research has gone behind it. There are images of brains that you can see of young children that have been deprived of nutrition, of responsive care, safety and security, of proper health interventions, and their brains are not fully developed. But you can see that of a healthy child that has received all of the above, and their brains are normal and fully developed. And so therefore these earliest interventions are critical. And just a few more statistics around that, because if we kind of take a macro view of early childhood, there are arguments to be made from a health perspective. For instance, there is a lot of research now in terms of diabetes, hypertension, other cardiovascular diseases, obesity, some forms of cancer are linked to the early experiences of a child's life. In fact, having 7 to 8 adverse early experiences in early childhood can translate to 3 times more higher probability of having cardiovascular disease as an adult. And when I say adverse experiences, this could be toxic stress, domestic violence, lack of proper nutrition, and so on. In terms of education, there is a longitudinal study now that shows that home visits basically, this is in Jamaica to your question, Yasin, of what other countries are doing. This particular country, and this was then transported to a lot of other countries around the world, of designing home visiting programs by frontline workers, health workers, Anganwadi workers, in the Indian context, for example, that taught parents how to engage in infant caregiver play and how to create activities around verbal interaction. And that had disproportionate influence on children. They were 5 times as likely to stay in school, 3 times as likely to have college education, and 25% more income they would earn as adults. Again, another argument is linked to economic argument. James Heckman, Nobel laureate, has shown that if you invest in early childhood, high quality early childhood education programs for the most disadvantaged, you can deliver up to 13% return on investment. In dollar terms, every dollar invested, $7 to $13 returns to society in various ways through savings in health, education, and so on and so forth. So I mean, there are many arguments for early childhood, and many countries are focusing on these interventions, mostly on responsive care and early stimulation, so that they can support parents, so that parents can support their young children better.
Right, thank you so much, Rushta. Fascinating. 1 million neural connections are formed per second during those first 100 days. Wow. And also, thank you for inviting us about so many other things. It's indeed important that investment angle be understood before we try and formulate our approach, because this is going to give us so much more back in return when these children grow up to be healthier individuals. I'd like to move on to Dr. Arun Singh, sir. Sir has been a pioneer of ECD in the country, to say the least, and in fact, he was the first consultant in the history side who gave us the first 1,000 days document and first 100 days document. And Sir has been handholding various states through the NHS and formulating all the ECD related programs that we've been running. Sir, I would request your view on a more broader fashion, but I have 2 specific questions that I would like to request your knowledge upon. One would be regarding the detection of defects during pregnancy, during the ANC period, whether the existing methods are enough for it. I mean, we have a somewhat well-regulated ultrasound practice throughout the country. Amniocentesis was phased out successfully a long time ago. Do you think, but still, we do have babies who are born with defects. Do you think we are making a mistake somewhere? And Another thing that I would like to come upon is your view, because Sir is foremost expert on pediatric nutrition. So I want your view on this extremely controversial topic of whether baby formula is actually useful. So sir, over to you.
Thank you. And first of all, I thank everyone, including the organizers and Sir particularly, for giving me this kind of opportunity. Now, just a word before we go further. All the people sitting in this room, most of you are doctors, most of you are quite educated, whether we are on the dais or sitting. So why do you think you got educated? What is new in it? I mean, early child development is nothing new to you. Why are we debating this today? So there has been a fundamental change when I was a student. When I was a student, we used to debate nature versus nurture. So there was something which is genetics, which is shaping me, myself, and something which is nurturing. Today, that concept has changed. Even genes have meaningless unless until they get an environment to unfold themselves. So genes are like a fan. Having a fan doesn't mean it's moving. You have to put the switch on. The switching on is epigenetics. This we need to understand. We all in this country thought, I am a doctor, my child will always get educated. I belong to an educated family, hence my child would be educated. Today we are saying, you can't take this for granted. And a lot of dogmas were solved. The first IQ which was developed was used for a very different reason. The West developed the intelligence quotient to show that a white child was more intelligent than a black child. And this was discussed worldwide. So much so that one of the Nobel laureates predicted that the white should do the research work and the black should be supporting. He was one of the inventors of the DNA molecule. The problem today we understood is that if you give the right environment, and the environment doesn't start after birth, it starts before birth, then you provide the proper environment for the genes to express. I have a gene for cancer, for lung cancer, but I don't smoke. I will not develop lung cancer. But if I smoke, then the chances of my developing lung cancer is more than another person. So this is fun. Now for Sir's question, how do we support epigenetics? Can we give, asking nature, what is it that my genes will, good genes is going to express? I'm going to be a healthy individual. So it starts from intrauterine. If you are giving stressful period to the mother, you are projecting epigenetics. If you are giving normal vaginal delivery, then the bacteria which are going to colonize are going to help epigenetics. And epigenetics is nothing but ECD. If you are going to give breast milk, the kind of colonization of the gut which you get is going to promote the genes which is going to be good for your population. So ladies and gentlemen, you are the God of your child. The way you would like to shape your child will become that. So, as a pediatrician, I was never taught how to rear up a normal child. I was taught how to treat a diarrhea, an infection, a sepsis, but as a pediatrician, I never learned how to rear up my own child. That is easy. There is hardly any chapter written how to rear up a child. And what was being discussed. And very profound statement was made by our Joint Secretary Dr. Ashok Babu, that we in medical science, when we do an intervention, we forget that there is an ECD component. An ENT surgeon will take 1 hour to do a cochlear implant, but he will require 1,000 hours of speech therapy to make that cochlear implant work. Even our medical colleges, there is no department of speech and therapy. So, sir, answering to your question, each species milk was meant for it. If you want to become very strong physically, you want your nutrition to the body to be strong, please do not drink human milk, drink buffalo milk. Because buffalo's milk has been designed to become a buffalo. That means bigger in size, more in weight. There is a higher fat content than human milk. But if you are drinking human milk, you may be lean and thin. You not be a round chubby boy or a girl. But this is meant for cognition. The constitution is based to support your brain and to your epigenetics. Choice is yours. There is hardly any debate. Nature has provided each species with its own milk, what it is to be used. We are Homo sapiens. We are known by our brain. We become Kashmiri or UPite or even Indian later on. And a Homo sapien is known for its brain. When you were born, only 20% of your brain was formed. 80% needs to be formed. So what is the environment which we are to give? So I think this should have been the first topic in the days and in the 2 days. Because a lot of things are coming in our way. You are producing IVF children. I asked the parents, have I made you a mother or have I made you a mother of a Homo sapien? If that Homo sapien is there, then the brain must develop. All of you are sitting in this room because your first teacher was your mother. She helped you to grow. So ECD is not a program, it is a way of life. Whether you call it SNCU, whether you call it labor room, whether you call it sitting in this room, all of it is relating to right now when you are hearing, you are thinking, your ECD is getting done. But the most critical period of ECD is the first 1,000 days, 9 months of intrauterine life. Very simple things. And please do not only think of nutrition to the body. When an ultrasound is done, sir, we are only interested in what is the weight of the child and all the organs are present or not. When a child is born, the only question the mother asks, ladka hua hai ya ladki? Vajan kya hai? Time kya hai? No one asks, how should I rear up the child so that he or she becomes it? Perhaps poets were far better in ECD than we doctors, because Khalil Gibran asked, your child comes through you is not a part of you. You may hold their bodies but not their souls, for the souls belong to God. Ladies and gentlemen, the essence of ECD as human beings, as Homo sapiens, माँ बाप अब तभी बन सकते हैं जब बच्चे को वो इन्वायरमेंट देंगे, वो दूध देंगे जो नेचर ने बनाया है, जो डिलीवरी है, उस पर थोड़ा गौर कीजिएगा. नेचर से बढ़कर कोई साइंटिस्ट नहीं. The last thing I would say, sir, day before yesterday, I cannot teach ECD to a Kashmiri. I was invited by one of my students to his home. And that day I understood what is nutrition to the body and what is nutrition to the brain. They made me sit, the dishes, the love, affection and care with which food was provided, that was ECD plus nutrition. It was not
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much, sir, on this interesting response. Indeed, epigenetic, that's playing out in the background, influencing everything that we do. And if we start looking at things that way, we will be able to understand a lot of what is going on in our lives. As I said, and I guess all of you can come back with one thing, just because you become a doctor doesn't necessarily mean that your son or daughter would be able to become one, unless you get the epigenetics right. And also, sir, I'm really glad that you did stress on the whole idea about keeping things natural. We are mammals at the end of the day. So if we're humans, we should eat human milk to our breast milk to our babies rather than baby formula or buffalo milk. And it's quite strange because just a week ago or so, we've been looking at this massive shortage of baby formula in the United States, and the whole country running helter-skelter trying to fix some. And had they, just emphasized breastfeeding amongst their mothers, they possibly wouldn't have been in this situation. But to follow this work, we'll move on. I want to go back to Ashok Babu sir and try and get a bit of idea about how we're looking at the existing practices that we have within the child health programs of NHM, apart from the practice-oriented programs, apart from the infrastructure-related issues. And here I particularly want to talk about two major concepts, practices, HBNC and HBYC. So you talked about community involvement, and this got me thinking that HBNC and HBYC were basically intended to ensure that the post-delivery or return to home phase is taken care of through the family, through the community, so that we could expand our outreach. Our own ANMs, I request everybody to please welcome respected Honorable Advisor to Lieutenant Governor Rajiv Ravi. Sir, we welcome you to the last session. To inform you, sir, we are currently in the last session of the conference that is regarding early childhood development, sir, and we're just about to finish the session, sir. We can have a couple of more minutes, sir. Sir, I wanted to hark upon HBMC and HBYC, home-based newborn care and home-based young child care. And as we understand that these are meant to basically extend care beyond the clinical premises or beyond the network of the ASHAs and ANMs and ensure that the parents are pushed to do it. And this was something that we learned at during our deliberations at Harvard also, that we wish to make the parent as the center or the lever or the fulcrum of implementing an ECD child. So, any comments on whether you think that HBNC and HBYC practice, as it has picked up in India, is worth enough to go the whole mile, or do you think there are some gaps that we should plug in, or some extensions that we can come up with?
Thank you for the question. You asked about HBNC and HBYC, whether they are successful or whether what are the gaps. As I see, whether it is the newborn care or young child care, a home-based visit is planned by the government for one particular reason. One, to extend the care beyond the institution, after the hospital and delivery and beyond that. Second thing is, there could be a lack of knowledge for a mother to press the trigger if something is happening to the baby. That's the first point. And other point is that to ensure that the baby in the right time is referred if there is any problem, so that the care is taken at the very early stage of the body. The available data with me, that is the ministry shows, 1.2 crore children in the last year approximately have been visited by the ASHAs, and out of them 3.6 lakh children in newborn were referred to the higher facilities. There is some problem. If you see these figures, I don't know whether mothers could have automatically referred those babies to the higher centers or not. With the visit of ASHAs, approximately 3.6 lakh children could be referred to the health facilities. The best part is, if mother has equal knowledge of ASHA and ANM, and there is a call center, she can call and inform, and the care can be taken. As you see, till that point, or till we reach to certain extent that point, till we settle our call centers which can holistically address, yes, the system should work, and it has delivered, and there is always scope for it.
Thank you so much, sir, for pointing that out. I must, reiterate that in light of the fact that our RBSK system takes care of detecting children with defects who are in the school system. But the infants, the newborn, the neonates are missing out on the screening. This screening is possible only through HPNC and HPYC visits by the ASHA workers. I know it is a matter of fact, and I accept it even as a mission director, that our HPNC, HPYC practice in many districts is not that good. Ashas are not visiting even if they are claiming these symptoms, but it must be improved. And this is why we took up ECD as the last and most important station. All the CMOs, most of the CMOs and BMOs are here. Please push your Ashas to make those home visits, because one thing that I have seen here personally is any defects in the child, even if the mother notices it, or the parent or anybody else in the home notices it, they usually disregard it, or they do not, try to investigate it because it's somewhat looked up as a taboo, or they're trying to kind of not confront the scary possibility that the child might have a serious defect. So until and unless somebody from the outside, the Asha in this case, comes in, looks at the child and raises the alarm, that defect would go undetected. And that poor child who will live with that illness, with defect for his own life, which could have otherwise very, very easily been corrected through a very simple correctional surgery had it been detected in time. So that's something that I would like the CMOs to take note on. And we'll move on circle back to Dr. Siradev ma'am. Ma'am, one thing that I wish to request you to throw light upon is the use of antibiotics in our SNCUs. And do you think that it has any direct impact on the cognitive development of the child? Because that's something of a very scary issue, because what we've seen in JK is that even though we've built SNCUs, our pediatricians or MOs are not very confident about treating patients, treating neonates in those SNCUs, and whether antibiotics for that matter, any drug usage can be, what's the perspective about it? Separately also, if you think that if we wish to operationalize these SNCUs to the best of their capacity, do we need some sort of a supervisory support system, or any other mechanism which will enable us to make sure that they function to the best of their capacity?
So to answer to the first question regarding the use of antibiotic. So as per the standard treatment protocol, the antibiotics are to be used when it is required, and the judicious use of antibiotics in many times it is required as per the situation of the health condition of the newborn. But definitely indiscriminate use of antibiotics, it has been seen as a problem also across the states when the visits are being conducted. So it is definitely, it will be doing harm to the baby only, because the gut microbiota and the other immune system, it actually at work at mercy on the immune system and the gut microbiota also. And so the monitoring, the supervision and monitoring system, it is actually required for the SSUs, and it is there, as I believe. So there is a program is there, and there is regular monitoring and supervision of the SSUs, which is going on. But how frequently or how diligently it is being done, that how regularly it is being done, that actually has to be seen. That's one point. The second point is regarding supervision.
Right, thank you.
Another point, just one point I thought that I will bring to the light. This is we have an MCP card. Earlier we had this MCP card. This was the card, and now we have revised this MCP card, and it has dedicated 2 pages. Earlier we had only 2 pages for this nutrition and early childhood stimulation. So this was the 2 pages only earlier. But now it is growth monitoring also, if there is growth monitoring, and now if there is weight for the age and weight for height, two charts have been into this weight for height plus earlier not there. So this is actually in line with the mother. So mother, if the mother knows once that her child is in the danger zone, the yellow or the orange zone, automatically she will go to the government center to give the weight and height data. So this is very important. We have it as already. We must use it.
Yes, yes.
Just what Madam said, two things. Please understand, hygiene is the name of a Greek god. If you have good hygiene, your antibiotic usage will come down. It's not only for SNC, it is for everything. If we think that we can cure TB only with anti-TB drugs, that's not right, because you will develop multi-drug resistance. So, bacteria in SNCU, they exchange their genetic material. And I have done my research to tell you that a new bacteria which can be very lethal can be born in an SNCU or NICU. So please understand, only antibiotics, you are pushing the bacteria to share the genetic material with someone else. So a more cautious approach would be, push your hygiene, do more investigations point of care, but be very rigid about using antibiotics, because you are coming and very soon a day will come when there will be no drug to treat the multi-drug resistance. The second point which Madam told you, I am very much afraid medical college professors think MCP card is not to be used in their colleges. This is only to be used in the rural areas. I think Government of India needs to be congratulated. All the milestone tools which you use from the West, they are non-pictorial. There it is, there are three colors. If I have a child 2 to 4, what are the milestones, that is developmental delay, pictorially? What should I do during this period? That is also given. And the developmental deviations, which is not a part of developmental tool, is also given. Perhaps nowhere in the world you will have such a tool. Please ask your students also to use it. It's a very nice tool for your own child. So there was two things. Sorry.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. Indeed, this came up in one of the sessions yesterday also, that tertiary care, because we know it as a matter of fact, particularly in Kashmir Valley, that there's a concentration of deliveries which is happening in Srinagar, and all the hard work that all the CMOs, BMOs have been doing for the ANC checkups and all, and which is added to the MCP card and so on, that is lost if it is not used by the gynecologist at the tertiary care. And if it is used, I'm sure that it will make it is established that it makes a lot of difference in informing their choice of how they want to deliver the baby and maintain the health of the mother. So yeah, I would like to take this opportunity to quickly remind everyone that the best tweet contest is still running. So please tweet about this session, the ECD session, with the hashtag MCH Conclave JK. Please tag our handle as well at JK MCH Conclave, and the best tweet gets a very attractive prize in the form of a tab. We'll move back to Rushta here and back to Boston, I would say, because what we finally brought out of that course in collaboration with, rather led by Dr. Sumita Ghosh ma'am, who's also had this thing called PALAN. Which I'm not sure if you agreed on the acronym, but which I formulated as Parental Action and Learning for Advancement of Neonate. So I'd rather leave it to Rushta to please talk about PALAN, what it's about, and what we're going to look forward to.
Thank you for the question. First of all, I would like to say that PALAN 1000, which is the name of this initiative, is very much a program of the Government of India, the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. We are playing a supporting role, so it is the brainchild of the ministry, and a lot of the ideas and pretty much all the components have come from the ministry. We've merely played the role of supporting some of its development as well as a knowledge partner in this. Having said that, the program is focused, and probably it is the first of its kind in the country, focused primarily on early childhood. Of course, the ministry already has, and we talked about it just now, the Mother and Child Protection Card. We have the HBYC program, we have the HBNC program that are all supportive of early childhood. What this initiative aims to do is that it aims to add a few components that will strengthen the early response, the early stimulation of the responsive care component of early childhood development. And at its core, it's also a parenting program to support parents and families so that they can support their young children better. And to be able to do that, there are a few components. There is a campaign, a parenting campaign that has been developed that we are looking forward very eagerly to launch just in a few weeks. That will be a national campaign which will impart certain key parenting messages for parents and for families related to infant caregiver play, related to how to avoid stress, how to be able to support your child better and offer them the care and affection they need. So that is one component. The other piece is an app, a parenting app that is also supportive of parents but also frontline workers, and how one can just download this app and be able to therefore see not only all the programs that are available through government, but some of the activities and the actions that you can take to be able to immediately support your child. And it's also done in an age-appropriate manner. The other piece is a call center. Of course, Jammu and Kashmir has already taken the lead here in terms of just launching this ECD call center. We hope that with the development of certain innovations around this model, they can be integrated into existing call centers that are already running in various states. And there is, of course, a research component. There is a lot of research, and I mentioned this in terms of neuroscience that has happened all over the world, but also early childhood development and so on, and what are some of the practices around it. But we believe that this is the first of its kind research on looking at beneficial and harmful parenting practices in our country that can serve as a starting point for debate and discussion around this issue. So these are some of the components that we are looking at, and we are very excited to be able to launch all of this just in a few weeks.
Right. Sure. I'm very happy, proud and glad to announce that J&K will be, I believe, one of the first 2 states which are chosen by the ministry to launch Marlin 1000 in, and it will go, I think, in a couple of months. We can look forward to it. Sir, thank you so much, Rushka, for the elaboration on that. So, very interesting, discussion we've had on ECD. A lot of things. I thought that we had a good start on ECD for myself, but there are new things I learned right now sitting here, and I'm sure the same would be for you as well. We'll throw open the floor for 3 questions, one after the other, one by one, please. Can we have the hand mic being circulated? Yeah.
A very good afternoon all. So ma'am, the whole MCH conclave, we have been talking about mothers and child. But I also believe when we talk about pregnant females and post-delivery and pre-pregnancy, we need to highlight the roles of husbands, fathers as well. So we haven't talked about much. I know we have family participatory care and much more things, but I think so for women to have a happy pregnancy and happy postpartum or post-delivery. If we could have some words from our panelists about men being good fathers and husbands.
Very interesting. Very interesting question. The role of the father had, and I believe, Sir ma'am, any of you would like to take this?
So you're very right. Nowadays, if I have a question, I ask the nature. So So I will answer your question by referring to nature. If you had time, I would have shown you the delivery of a gorilla child. Very wonderful. So one of the things when, if some time permits, I would have shown you that just after the birth, the father gorilla is invited and introduced. This is nature. When the mother delivers the child, oxytocin in her flows, which is bonding, changing her entire brain circuit. When the father is involved in the pregnancy, the father's vasopressin flows, and that also changes the circuit. So it is very essential that both the parents, and if you read the journey of first 1,000 days, the book, there are pictures even in the MCP card where the father must sleep with the child. This is not doing a duty to the child. It is knowing your child. Because when a child is born, there's only one person the child knows before birth. That's the mother. The father has to be introduced. So all the fathers who are sitting, please don't delay yourself to be getting introduced, because that's the time the wiring is going on. If you miss the opportunity, you are going to really miss it. So I think you have said very clearly, yes, the family is never complete, and nature produces us as a dimorphic. It is not only the genes of the mother, but the genes of the father also which make a child. So nature wants both of them together. That is why the genes are borrowed from both. It is not only the mother's gene or only the father's gene. So let's do justice to nature.
Thank you so much for this interesting answer. We'll go on to a second question. Anyone? Right. So we'll close the session here. Thank you so much for being such a patient audience. Back to the introducer.
Thank you very much for the panelists for giving us a deep insight about early childhood development. Now I will request Mission Director, National Health Mission, J&K, to please facilitate the esteemed panelists. Thank you, sir. May I now please request Dr. P. Ashok Babu, sir, Joint Secretary, Minister of Health and Family Welfare, Government, and to please facilitate Mission Director, National Health. Thank you, sir. Now over to Nasir Ali Khan, sir, for further proceedings. The winner of the best tweet goes to Said Sahila. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, I welcome you all to the first Jammu and Kashmir MCH Conclave 2022. आज दूसरा दिन है और काफी सारे सेशंस के बाद बहुत ही पॉजिटिव एटमॉस्फेयर ऑलरेडी बन चुका है, लेकिन this is the concluding valedictory ceremony now, and there will be felicitations and award ceremony which will take place. But before moving on, I would once again request Mission Director, National Health Mission, Jammu and Kashmir, Shri Yasin Mohammed Chaudhary Saab, to kindly join us on the dais for a brief conference summary. So ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and let's welcome on dais Mission Director, National Health Mission, Janab Yasin Mohammed Chaudhary Saab.
worthy advisor to Honorable Lieutenant Governor Shri Manoj Sinha Rajiv Rai Bhatnagar sir, respected colleagues from the department, worthy attendees, dignitaries, and especially our Joint Secretary sir from the Ministry, Joint Secretary RCH Babu sir. I thank you all once again for joining us in the first MCH Conclave, first J&K MCH Conclave. It has been without doubt an intense 1.5 days full of discussions and deliberations. We really did not expect this much turnout and this level of engagement while we were planning this. To be honest, this event has been in the pipeline for the last 1 year. Those of you from the ministry or even our colleagues here would remember that we had held some rounds of discussion with you all about the scope of this particular event, and the recent IMR drop was sort of a push for us to connotate this event with the same. I am glad that the sessions, as we kind of laid them out, as we designed them, turned out to be just perfect and invited a lot of discourse. The first session we had was regarding situation analysis of maternal health, which was basically based on the report by the same name, which was produced with the help of Norway-India Partnership Initiative. And I once again thank Dr. Stark and Dr. Mushtaq for coordinating the same. In that report, we realized that our maternal health issues are not that of JK, are not different from that of the rest of the country. However, we do have some regional specific issues, particularly those in Jammu division, where referral becomes an issue. We also realized that the level of education attainment is directly influencing the changing face of maternal health in J&K. We also had some comments upon the importance of the antenatal care mechanisms which our CMOs and BMOs run, and forsooth we had some comments regarding the role of our gynecologists in the country, both in the public sector as well as the private sector, in formulating a more responsive and cohesive environment for promotion of maternal health knowledge amongst their peers down the line. The second session was possibly the most interesting and exciting one, that on cesareans, a conversation which we struck around a month ago. And this was something that had been we've been deliberating and scratching our heads about. But the conclusion that we arrived at was not a binary one. It wasn't a yes or no in favor or against cesareans, and rightly so. I guess if I have to conclude it, what our panelists arrived at was, we need to first accept whether it is a problem or not, and just not assume that it's a problem. And if it's a problem, then only we go about identifying the solution. So it remains to be seen whether the rising children cesareans is indeed becoming an issue in terms of affecting mothers, or say rather discouraging or excluding those women who don't have access to cesareans because of geographical or economical issues, and so on and so forth. But what came out also was that it is a conversation which is possibly days long and certainly can't be winded up in one session. Next, neonatal stabilization and pre-referral management again was a very intensely academic session, and we realized that in a state like ours, in a UT like ours, with huge distances and extremely diverse terrain, referrals of neonates is the breaking factor, which ensures their survival, and that is something that we need to improve upon. The level of care that is going on in our DPUs, PPUs and SNCUs, the level of care to be given to neonates right after they're born, that is of intense importance. How our SNCUs they fared out since the last 6-8 years, ever since they have been established, was also discussed very widely. The last session yesterday was on maternal mortality, again very intensely discussed one, and we had insights on what may be the leading factors specific to J&K vis-a-vis the rest of the country, and are they any different? whether our gynecologists are getting a conducive and supportive environment to take the hard calls and the serious steps which they need to take to ensure that the woman is delivered. The mechanisms that the ecosystem that comes around in ensuring that the gynecologist is not held responsible for any maternal death in that case, and also a lot of things about maternal death audit, maternal death surveillance, practices which have been recommended for long, but which were started in J&K just quite recently. Today's first session was regarding newborn health, and we have very interesting insights on whether there is a consciousness about maintaining newborn health while they are in our SNCUs, and what sort of measures we can take to further improve the quality of care in these SNCUs. Then followed by that was a session on long COVID from a maternal and pediatric perspective. COVID was something that we just could not neglect, and something that we need to continually bring up again and again and intersperse it in all our conversations, so that we can prepare well in advance for any future wave. And we got very good insights from a whole lot of facets. We had a lot of representation from developmental partners there who have been associated with the state all along. And the final session on ECD, as you all saw, was intended to raise awareness, or rather lead a new perspective on how we look at ECD, rather the degree of importance that is attached to it. Because if we invest in early childhood development, we will be certainly investing in a healthier, brighter future generation, which will be directly resulting in greater development of our country. So that was all that went down in this 1.5 day, and I'm pretty sure that all of you who have been here since the beginning had very good takeaways. But as our Working Principal Secretary yesterday said, that these conclaves, these conferences remain events to travel around, meet people, but they would not prove useful until and unless we actually imbibe and implement those conclusions, those results into our practice. And this is something that we at NHM J&K is committed to. We'll be coming out with a post-conference report and sharing it with you all. And in fact, we'll make sure that whatever points that we've decided on, we are able to formulate them into some actionable steps, which I'll be more than happy to take ahead with our respected HODs or CMOs across the state. There was also mention of the Indian Newborn Action Plan by Dr. Ghosh in one of the sessions, I believe. And the plan is to go to drop our IMR to single digit by 2030. I believe that given our recent success, and we've seen that our infrastructure, our teams, our doctors can make it happen. So I believe that we can certainly set a much earlier target than 2050 for achieving single digit IMR. I want to take this opportunity that we should all jointly pledge today that we should try and bring down J&K's IMR, if not by 2030, but at least by 2027, 3 years before the nation does it. This will be, practice that would, this should be a resolve that we should all take back from here. Finally, this was the pilot, the first, version of this MCH Conclave. We had not replicated any event like this happening elsewhere. It was purely our own conception and design. A lot of things that we learned along the way and we'll be working upon, but we certainly hope that we will continue to have such conclaves in the future also, and not just in J&K but in the rest of the country. And preferably if this conclave and not to our ministry colleagues there, if this conclave can be scaled to national level as well, because there will be a much broader canvas of learning over there. Once again, I thank you all for joining us and sitting through these 1.5 days. Thank you to all the people who make this possible, and most importantly, thank you to my team, which worked day and night to make this. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, I would welcome our today's chief guest, our worthy advisor to Lieutenant Governor, श्री आर भटनागर जी। उनका बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया अदा करते हैं कि कल और आज वो दोनों दिन अपना कीमती वक्त निकाल के यहाँ इस कॉन्क्लेव में हमारे साथ जुड़े हुए हैं। So next, I would request Dr. P. Ashok Babu, Joint Secretary, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India, to kindly join us on the dais for his kind words. Dr. P. Ashok Babu ji. A round of applause for Dr. P. Ashok Babu ji.
Respected Advisor Bhatnagar sir, Yasin and the entire team of NHM and Government of Jammu and Kashmir. First of all, thank you for inviting the Ministry for joining this enriching MCH Conclave. I look at it like this, whenever a development of a nation has to be described in numbers, infant mortality, maternal mortality, etc. things come into the picture. Why they come into the picture? Because of one reason. It not only summarizes the care which we are giving, the health facility-wise, etc. It summarizes the entire service care, the ability the entire community can invest its resources on this primary thing and make the generations after generations healthy and stronger to contribute to the particular country. So, especially when these indicators assume that much primacy, Jammu and Kashmir has taken pains to organize this first MCH Conclave. When I sit through the discussions, yesterday I couldn't join unfortunately, when I sit through the discussions, it is not just about knowledge or lectures or anything. It is about what are the issues, what can be done, and frankly what are the negatives that are happening and how to move forward. When you see the indicators like IMR, the big strides Jammu and Kashmir has made, that is laudable. And in fact, when you see the All India average, Jammu and Kashmir is doing much more better than the All India average. This kind of zeal, this kind of efforts, where you put in spite of all these busy routines. Today I visited the district hospital here. Amazing to see the commitment levels of the people who are striving harder and harder. It just didn't look to me like a district hospital. It looked like to me like a medical college. The facilities there, the treatment there and everything. Thanks a lot for giving this opportunity. We take forward the views from here and contribute what best we can do. We are looking forward to an India which is much more beyond reducing IMRs, MMRs. We talk about quality, we talk about respectful care, we talk about not just growth, we talk about development and all these things. I feel this is a strong foundation, this kind of conference provide for that. And I congratulate again for making this a grand success and moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. पिछले एक दिन और आज के दिन को मिला के the contribution, the efforts made by the entire team of National Health Mission is truly incredible and amazing. और इनके इस एफर्ट्स के बारे में अगर कहें तो दिन रात एक्चुअली जो कहा जाता है कि दिन रात की मेहनत थी। सो इन 2 दिन से पहले जो एफर्ट्स इन सब ने डाले हैं इंक्लूडिंग द इवेंट मैनेजमेंट कंपनी, एक बार गुजारिश करेंगे आप सब मेहमानों से कि इनके इस काबिल तारीफ एफर्ट्स के लिए जोरदार तालियां हो, इनका एनकरेज करें और आने वाले वक्त में ऐसे कॉन्क्लेव्स, ऐसे इंपॉर्टेंट इवेंट्स फिर से ऑर्गेनाइज करते रहें। So next is the category of awards for best performing districts on MHC parameters. और इन awards को announce करने के लिए I would request Mr. Irfan Mushtaq Shah to kindly join on the dais and announce the awards.
Thank you very much, Nasir sir. Esteemed advisor to the Honorable Lieutenant Governor Shri Rajiv Rai Bhatnagar sir, respected dignitaries, panelists, guests, and my dear colleagues, it gives me immense privilege to announce that on the occasion of this scintillating first of its kind MCH Conclave in the UT of J&K, the State Health Society NHM J&K is also going to felicitate all such districts of the UT who have achieved the milestones on the parameters of the maternal and child health while delivering the healthcare services on the grassroots level. And I would request the worthy advisors, sir, to kindly be gracious to felicitate the winners. Sir, please. And to begin with, we have the first category of award, that's the Best Performer District, with 100% mothers benefiting under Janani Shishu Suraksha Karyagram, that is JSSK, against the total institutional deliveries for the financial year 2021-22. And the award goes to District Kupwara. Kupwara team, please kindly receive the award. Big round of applause for the Kupwara team. Congratulations to the Kupwara team. The next award for the Best Performer District under Janani Suraksha Yojana, JSY. The criteria is the percentage of mothers benefited against total pregnant women registered. And the award goes to District Bandipora. Big round of applause for the District Bandipora. Team Bandipora, please come on the stage to receive the award. Big round of applause once again. Bandipora, keep it up. The next award is the Best Performer District in C-section during night. Criteria being the percentage of C-sections performed at night between 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. against total C-sections. And the award goes to District Punch. Commendable job by District Punch. Big round of applause for District Punch. Big round of applause. Now we'll be having Best Performer District under Pradhan Mantri Surakshit Matritva Abhiyan PMSMA, and the award goes to again to District Kupwara. Congratulations District Kupwara for carrying the second award today. Best Performer District under Rashtriya Bal Swasthya Karyagram, and the award goes to District Baramulla. Team Baramulla coming on the stage. A big round of applause, Team Baramulla.
congratulations to all the winners with a promise that they will keep it up, inshallah. Now I request my colleagues, Mr. Junaid Ahmed Zaru, Dr. Imtiaz Shakil and Shahnaz Shah to come on the stage for doing the Ayat al-Felicitation ceremony.
Thank you, Mr. Irfan. Very good afternoon to everyone. We have also gathered to acknowledge and honor the hard work of our fellow colleagues and to celebrate the achievement and records and marathon. We proudly announce two facilities have been awarded with enforced certification in the financial year 21-22. That is PhD degree from District Udaipur and PhD Shiri from Bharatpur. I would like to request Director of Jammu, Chief Medical Officer Udaipur, Block Medical Officer Tikri, Program Management Unit, along with the team, to please collect the award and certificate of appreciation. For PSCC, I request Chief Medical Officer Baramla, Block Medical Officer Shiri, Program Management Unit, along with the rest of the team, to please collect the award and certificate of appreciation. Now moving on to the type of awards. Among the category of District Hospital Udaipur has bagged the first position. May I again request the Director of Jammu, Chief Medical Officer Udaipur, Medical Secretary Udaipur, and along with the team to please select the award and the certificate of appreciation. This hospital has been awarded in the second year also. Last year there was the first position, this year there was again, that's the first position. And in District Hospital, the Communication Award goes to District Hospital Riasi. I request CMO Riasi, Medical Secretary Riasi, to please collect the award and certificate of appreciation. Sir, yes. In the category of community health center, the first prize has been bagged by CSC Patel. I request you to Baramla, J&K Patel, along with the team, to please collect the award. CSC Patel. The other among the CSC Ramnagar. From District Udaipur.
CHC. From district Baramulla, we have two CHCs, CHC Sopur and CHC Guru each. CHC Sopur. From district Pulwama, we have CHC Bangkok. From district Kupwara, we have CHC Kupwara. From district Nagla, we have CHC Guru, CHC Seed and CHC Shaman. Please. From Anakar for CHC Guru.
ये डूरू का अब सीर का अब सीर शांगस वाला अब सीर वाले सर इट इज माय विलेज belonging चलो कर
From district Shipyard, we have CHC Kerala. From district Salva, we have CHC Vijaypur. Salva district, anyone from Salva? From district Jammu, we have Government Hospital Sarwar. From District Riyasi, we have C.C. Katra. Thank you. Over Now I will be announcing the winner of Carlos Award for PhD, for the financial for the and the winner of the awards, winning competition for PhD card. Please welcome the CMO, Udhampur. Please welcome CMO, Jammu. The commendation award goes to PhD Boarcamp, PhD Pradhan, and PhD Damodar.
Stay here. Can you take place in there?
From District Udhampur, the award goes to PhD degree. Please welcome CMO Udhampur. PhD Bodhi, PhD Apna और PhD Kali. Commendation award.
बहुत सारी पर्चा कर ली इसका जब याकूब आगे जा चलता आगे
From District Samba, the PhD goes to PhD Solu, Vijay. District Samba.
याकूब को भेजा बहुत हो गया याकूब सांबा का ले लो
From District Samba, the commendation award goes to PhD Commander and PhD Ranapur.
याकूब आप
Samba. District Kutwa, PhD Putti, commendation award. Kutwa, District Kutwa, PhD Putti. District Riyasi, the award goes to PhD Management and PhD Pony and Restaurant Commendation Award. District Riyasi.
Manas, well done, well done. मुझे डीसी साहब को दिखाना है.
Now, District Baramulla, PhD goes, award goes to PhD Gujar. District Baramulla, PhD Gujar. Commendation award goes to PhD Bhanyar and PhD Shiri and PhD Sulena. District Diploma, award goes to PhD 2. District Diploma, award goes to PhD 2. PhD Kakpura and PhD in Commendation Award.
सामने बैक. Oh yes. Look sir, look. काकपुरा वाले. जी सर. District Kupara, award goes to PhD Kalam Award. District Kupara, award goes to PhD Kalam Award. PhD Brahmana and PhD Kalam, Commendation Award. District Telangana, award goes to PhD Darno. District Telangana, award goes to PhD Darno. And Commendation Award has PhD Marama and PhD Matan. District Telangana, PhD Darno. District Honorable Governor PSC Governor District Honorable Awards for UPSCs. I will announce the Jammu UPSC Shastri Nagar winner. Jammu UPSC Shastri Nagar winner. District Jammu.
शास्त्री नगर तुम्हें मिर्जापुर भाई
Baramulla, UPSC Baramulla, winner. UPSC Baramulla, winner. UPSC Nisha, Commendation Award. UPSC Patamalu, Commendation Award.
Requesting all the participants to kindly settle down and take their seats. All the dignitaries and delegates जिन्होंने awards लिए हैं, उनसे गुजारिश की जाती है कि kindly settle down and take your seats. और तालियां रुकनी नहीं चाहिए because it is such an amazing moment and such a happy moment that applauses did not stop.
From District Riyasi, you have a health and wellness center down. District Riyasi. Wait.
एक बार फिर से गुजारिश करते हैं लोगों से जो खड़े हैं टू काइंडली सेटल डाउन। बीच में काफी लोग खड़े हैं, इट इज काइंड रिक्वेस्ट टू सेटल डाउन एंड टेक योर सीट्स।
From District Jammu, Health and Wellness Center Batera is the winner, and they have 3 competition awards: Health and Wellness Center Anascora, Health and Wellness Center Ashramara, Health and Wellness Center Rajya. Give a big hand to District Jammu.
A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for all the winners.
From District Udhampur, where Health and Wellness Center won the winner and 4 other commendations: Health and Wellness Center Samsu, Health and Wellness Center Round Dome, Health and Wellness Center Jahari, Health and Wellness Center Bata. District Udhampur. From District Gandhari, we have 3 health and wellness centers. Health and Wellness Center Kore, who is a winner. Health and Wellness Center Yogara and Gunde Rama. Now, Mr. Gandhar, please. From District Srinagar, we have a Health and Wellness Center Radawali.
ऑडियंस की तालियां सुनने को नहीं मिल रही है। सारे अवार्ड लेके बैठे हैं लेकिन तालियां नहीं बजा रहे हैं, सो बहुत ही गलत बात है। जोरदार तालियां होनी चाहिए बिकॉज ऑल द विनर्स आर अपलॉजिंग फॉर ऑल द विनर्स ऑन द स्टेज। थैंक यू सो मच।
Health and Wellness Center Radawali. From District Nalta, we have a Health and Wellness Center Vadarahama.
भाई यार तू सोच हाँ तू आ जा तू आ पीछे लगा रहा है हेडफोन लगा।
From District Nalta, we have a Health and Wellness Center Vadarahama. Health and Wellness Center, J&K, and Health and Wellness Center, Yeshna. Both are the commendation award for District Anantnag.
रिक्वेस्टिंग एवरीवन टू काइंडली सेटल डाउन और एक बार फिर से गुजारिश करते हैं तालियां जो बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट है इस सेलिब्रेशन के लिए एटलीस्ट। Many congratulations to all the winners. लोगों से गुजारिश की जाती है कि काइंडली सेटल डाउन एंड टेक योर सीट्स। अपनी अपनी सीट्स ले लें और सेटल डाउन हो जाएं जितने लोग अवार्ड ले चुके हैं।
That is all.
Requesting everyone to kindly settle down, please. जितने लोग खड़े हैं उनसे गुजारिश की जाती है कि सेटल डाउन हो जाए। Thank you very much and congratulations to all the winners.
उसको मैं पहले पूरा कांड आगे लगा ले ना पीछे ये सी हूँ उसको मैं पहले पूरा कांड आगे लगा ले मैम आगे
Dr. Adil Bashir, Dr. Yunus Mishra, Dr. Imtiaz Shakir Baba, Dr. Irfan Suhail, Mr. Munir Ahmed Parekh, Dr. Akshid Nazir, Consultant VP.
अपनी टीम के लोग अपनी टीम के लिए तालियां नहीं बजा रहे हैं, काफी अच्छा नहीं लग रहा है। तो ये जो जोश तालियों में है अपनी टीम के लोगों के लिए, सो ह्यूज राउंड ऑफ अप्लॉज लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन।
Miss Anjum Saab, DPM Baramulla. Mr. Salim, DPM Bandipora. Dr. Asif Jilani, Consultant WHO. Dr. Sunalika Jamal, Consultant MP. Dr. Jahangir, Consultant MP. Ladies and gentlemen, there is also a special award for National SSL as a mark of appreciation for the hard work in assessing the health facilities at the national level. Now, I would request Mr. Misbahul Hassan, State Program Manager, National Health Mission, to receive an award. There is an award for Program Management Unit, Quality Assurance NHM, Dr. Praveen Yograj, Divisional Nodal Officer, Jammu, and Mr. Junaid Ahmed, Associate Program Manager. Now I will request Nasir Ali Khan Sahab to take over the charge.
Thank you so much and thanks a lot and congratulations to all the winners. लेकिन शिकायत एक है कि तालियों की आवाज सुनने को नहीं मिली, बट नो प्रॉब्लम, दैट इज द स्पिरिट। ये दो लोग ताली नहीं बजाए, इनके लिए एक बार जोरदार तालियां जो सामने बैठे हैं हमारे। वंस अगेन बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया और बहुत बहुत मुबारकबाद आप सब लोगों को, क्योंकि अवार्ड सेरेमनीज के बाद मोटिवेशन, इंस्पिरेशन काफी और इंक्रीज हो जाती हैं और हम उम्मीद करेंगे, जम्मू ने तो बहुत सारे अवार्ड्स और ट्रॉफीज लिए हैं, आई थिंक उनको एक अलग से गाड़ी भी करनी पड़ेगी जिसमें वो सारे मोमेंटों और ट्रॉफीज लेके जाएं। बट मूविंग ऑन, आई वुड रिक्वेस्ट नाउ अवर टुडेज ऑनरेबल चीफ गेस्ट Shri R.R. Bhatnagar ji, advisor to Honorable Lieutenant Governor, to kindly join us on the dais for his kind words and views. Zordar taliyan our today's chief guest, our advisor to Honorable Lieutenant Governor Shri R.R. Bhatnagar ji.
यासीन चौधरी साहब, उपस्थित यहाँ पर गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया के अधिकारीगण, जॉइंट सेक्रेटरी साहब, यहाँ पर हेल्थ और मेडिकल एजुकेशन सर्विसेज के सभी सीएमओ साहबान, डीएमओ साहबान, डॉक्टर्स, स्टाफ, सबसे पहले तो मैं आप सबको बहुत बहुत मुबारकबाद देना चाहूंगा कि आप लोगों ने जिस प्रकार की सर्विसेज प्रोवाइड की हैं यहाँ के आवाम को, वो वाकई तारीफ़े काबिल है। और आज जो आपको अवार्ड्स मिले हैं, इस अवार्ड फंक्शन में आके मुझे बहुत ही खुशी हुई, बहुत हर्ष हुआ और ये इस बात को देखकर कि आप में कितना उत्साह है, कितना एंथुजियाज्म है, कितना जज्बा है, और ये हमारी तरफ से एक बहुत छोटा सा आपके लिए तोहफा था, आपके लिए एक इनाम था, बट हम ऑनरेबल लेफ्टिनेंट गवर्नर साहब की तरफ से, पूरे यूटी एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन की तरफ से आपको तहे दिल से बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया देते हैं, बहुत बहुत बधाई देते हैं। आपके द्वारा जो काम किया गया है वो बहुत ही सराहनीय है। अब जहां तक इस कॉन्क्लेव की बात है, मैं जितनी भी तारीफ करूं वो कम है। ऑर्गेनाइजर्स को सबसे पहले मैं मुबारकबाद देना चाहूंगा कि उन्होंने बहुत ही अच्छे तरीके से, व्यवस्थित तरीके से इसको ऑर्गेनाइज किया, और महत्वपूर्ण बात यह है कि उन्होंने जो इसके सेशंस थे वो सब बहुत ही पर्पसफुल थे, और एक सेशन जो मुझे अभी अटेंड करने का अवसर मिला, सौभाग्य मिला, उसमें आई कुड सी कि देयर वाज अ लॉट ऑफ वैल्यू इन द डिस्कशंस दैट वर गोइंग ऑन, इन द इंटरेस्ट दैट वाज बीइंग टेकन। आई एम श्योर इस कॉन्क्लेव में हम लोगों ने जो अपने व्यूज को, बेस्ट प्रैक्टिसेस को जो हम लोगों ने डिस्कस किया है, उसका आदान प्रदान किया है, वो हमारी सर्विसेज को आगे और भी बेहतर बनाएगा। बहुत से सेशंस थे, उसमें बहुत से टॉपिक्स थे, सभी रेलिवेंट थे। सबसे महत्वपूर्ण बात मुझे ये लगी कि इस कॉन्क्लेव में हमने एक होलिस्टिक तरीके से इस मुद्दे के बारे में चर्चा की है।
और हमने केवल इसको एक मेडिकल पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से ही नहीं बल्कि एक सोसाइटी पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से एक कैसे हम लोग इनेबलर्स हो सकते हैं, जितने भी स्टेक होल्डर्स हैं इसके लिए, उन सबको हम कैसे एक धागे में पिरोकर हमारा बेस्ट आउटकम जो हो सकता है फॉर मदर एंड चाइल्ड वो देने का प्रयास कर सकते हैं। हम लोगों ने अपने लिए बहुत ही एम्बिशियस गोल्स रखे हैं, ऑब्जेक्टिव्स रखे हैं, लेकिन आज मुझे जिस तरीके का एंथुसियाज्म आपका देख के मिला, आई एम 100% convinced that we will certainly be able to achieve all the goals and objectives that we have set for ourselves. I would like to thank the Government of India for supporting us in every aspect. We have worked very closely together, and I must inform you that we have never found them wanting, बल्कि जो हम उनसे किसी भी चीज की इल्तजा करते हैं वो उससे आगे बढ़कर आकर हमारी मदद करते हैं। बहुत सारे अचीवमेंट्स हैं आपके, मैं किस किस को गिनाऊं, और आगे आने वाला समय इस यूटी के लिए जहां तक हेल्थ सर्विसेज और मेडिकल एजुकेशन का सवाल है, एक स्वर्णिम काल होगा, और जो मैटरनल हेल्थ और चाइल्ड केयर के बारे में हमने कॉन्क्लेव किया है उसके भी बहुत अच्छे परिणाम आएंगे, और आगे आने वाले समय में वी वुड बी एबल टू रियली सर्व दी सिटीजन्स, जो यहाँ का आवाम है उसको हम बहुत अच्छी सेवाएं दे पाएंगे। आप सभी जानते हैं कि इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर में कितनी वृद्धि हो रही है, लेकिन कोई भी इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, कोई भी फैसिलिटी किसी काम की नहीं होती जब तक जो लोग उसमें काम कर रहे हैं उनको जो सेंस ऑफ कमिटमेंट है, जो सेंस ऑफ लॉयल्टी है, जो सेंस ऑफ सर्विस है, जो सेंस ऑफ उनको अपने प्रोफेशनलिज्म की है, उसके बिना कोई भी फैसिलिटी वो रिजल्ट नहीं दे पाती जिसके हम लोग उम्मीद करते हैं। तो मैं आप सबको आने वाले समय के लिए बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं, और उम्मीद करता हूं कि अगली बार जब हम लोग मिलते हैं इस अवार्ड्स के लिए, निश्चित रूप से आप सब लोग अवार्ड्स के पात्र हैं, और जिन लोगों को इस बार सफलता मिली है उन्हें मैं मुबारकबाद देता हूं, पर यह भी कहना चाहूंगा कि हर एक व्यक्ति आपसे, आप में से बधाई का पात्र है, शाबाशी का पात्र है। थैंक यू। जय हिंद, जय भारत।
Sir, I would request you to kindly hold on the stage, and I would request our Mission Director National Health Mission, Janab Chaudhry Mohammad Yasin Sahab, to kindly join us on the stage and present a special memento to our today's chief guest, our worthy advisor to Honorable Lieutenant Governor Shri R.R. Bhatnagar जी। बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया सर आपका, आपने कल और आज दोनों दिन अपना कीमती वक्त निकाल के इस कॉन्क्लेव में पार्टिसिपेट किया, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया। Now I would request Dr. Salimur Rahman, Director Health Services Jammu, Director General MCH Family Welfare and Immunization, to kindly join us on the stage and present a special memento. Thank you, sir. And present a special memento to Dr. P. Ashok Babu, Joint Secretary, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India. बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया सर। Congratulations. Thank you, sir. Now I request Janab Zahur Wani Saab, Director of Finance, to kindly join us on the stage and present a special memento to Mission Director, National Health Mission, Janab Chaudhry Mohammad Yasin Saab. Now I request Director Planning, Mrs. Rajni Charanji, to kindly join on the stage and present a special memento to our Mission Director, National Health Mission, Shri Chaudhry Yasin Saab. Director Finance is not here. I will request Mission Director Sir only to kindly, ma'am. So thank you very much. आप सब लोगों का बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया to be part of first Jammu Kashmir MCH Conclave. जाते जाते एक बहुत ही खूबसूरत सी 2 लाइनें आप सबके साथ शेयर करेंगे कि मंजिल से आगे बढ़कर मंजिल तलाश कर। ये सब आप लोगों ने किया है कि आप लोगों ने एक मंजिल को तलाशने की कोशिश की। सो ऑन दैट लाइन की मंजिल से आगे बढ़कर मंजिल तलाश कर, मिल जाए तुझको दरिया तो समंदर तलाश कर। सो एक बार फिर से जोरदार तालियां। एंड आई वुड रिक्वेस्ट our today's chief guest to have a group photo with team Jammu and team Kashmir. तो सबसे पहले टीम जम्मू को हम बुलाएंगे स्टेज पे और टीम कश्मीर को, एंड विद दैट वी विल कंक्लूड दिस सेकंड डे ऑफ जम्मू एंड कश्मीर फर्स्ट MCH Conclave. After the group photo, we will have an official vote of thanks. So first we will have a vote of thanks. After the vote of thanks, we will have the group photo session. For the vote of thanks, I would request Dr. Praveen Yogaraj, Divisional Nodal Officer, NHM Jammu.
Good evening to one and all gathered here on this wonderful evening. It is a privilege for me to present vote of thanks to all our esteemed guests. After 2 days of excellent scientific feast in first MCH Conclave in Jammu and Kashmir, we take this golden opportunity to thank our respected Chief Guest, Shri Rajiv Rai Bhatnagar ji, Advisor to Honorable Lieutenant Governor, Government of J&K, despite his busiest schedule. Thank you, sir. My special thanks to our guest from Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Dr. P. Ashok Babu, Joint Secretary, RCH, for joining us and making us wiser. Thank you, sir. It was an honor and pleasure for all of us to have Honorable Lieutenant Governor Shri Manoj Sinha ji, along with Dr. Arun Kumar Mehta, Chief Secretary, Government of J&K, and Shri Manoj Dwivedi ji, Principal Secretary, Health and Medical Education, in inaugurating the first MCH Conclave in Jammu and Kashmir. We are highly thankful to them for gracing the conclave and sharing words of wisdom with all of us. Under the dynamic leadership of Mission Director, National Health Mission, Chaudhry Mohammad Yasin sir, this conclave had opened various opportunities for medical policy makers and professionals from allied sector. My sincere thanks and gratitude to Yasin sir for conceptualizing this conclave. I bear testimony to all the sweat and toil that he had invested over the past few weeks for the perfect execution of this mega event. I assure you, all of you, on behalf of NHM J&K, that such conclaves will be a regular annual feature in J&K, as it helps clinicians, policymakers, and the government to advise and implement strategies and plans which are beneficial to the patient in the long run. My sincere thanks and gratitude to Director Health Services Jammu and DG MCH Family Welfare and Immunization, Dr. Salimur Rahman, for making his presence felt in panel discussion on cesarean section. My gratitude and thanks to principals of all the government medical colleges for their esteemed presence. My heartfelt thanks to all our tour speakers, delegates from within and outside UT. Your presence and valuable guidance and relentless support has been the basis for the success of this conclave. I thank all Chief Medical Officers, Medical Superintendents, Block Medical Officers, faculty members, residents and doctors for making this event successful. I want to thank the whole staff and team of NHM J&K for working selflessly, tirelessly and with a deep commitment for making this mega event a huge success. My heartfelt gratitude to such an energetic and committed team. The conclave would not have been successful without support of key partners. I would like to thank Space Communications, NITI and HLL as our event partners for culminating the event in a professional manner. I congratulate all the winners of the Kayakalp Awards 2021-22 and best performing districts in MCH who made this evening colorful with their glittering awards and trophies. I thank SKICC and their supporting staff for their efforts. Lastly, I thank Information Department, print and electronic media delegates who would be our ambassadors for publicizing this mega scientific event. I conclude my vote of thanks with a message celebrating motherhood, empowering childhood. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. So now I request our today's honorable chief guest to kindly join us for the group photo. First, I request Team Jammu to kindly join on the stage for this official group photo, and after that, Team Kashmir. और कंक्लूजन पे एक बार जोरदार तालियां तो बनती ही बनती हैं। तो एक बार जोरदार तालियां फॉर द होल टीम ऑफ जम्मू एंड कश्मीर। A big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Team Jammu with our today's honorable chief guest, advisor to Honorable Lieutenant Governor Shri R.R. Bhatnagar ji. तालियां अभी भी सुनने को नहीं मिल रही हैं। So like thank you so much. So now Team Kashmir, requesting Team Kashmir to kindly join on the stage for the official group photo. बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया and all the winners in the tweet competition are requested to kindly contact the Divisional Nodal Officer Kashmir for collecting their prizes in the office. The prizes are tabs और ये tabs आपको मिलेंगे Divisional Nodal Officer Kashmir से बात करके उनके ऑफिस पे. Thank you so much. Thank you to Team Kashmir and thank you to our today's honorable chief guest, advisor to Honorable Lieutenant Governor Shri R.R. Bhatnagar ji. बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया आप सब लोगों का।